Welcome to the Petone Recreation Ground. This the first round of the 2001 Jubilee Cup competition here in Wellington with the playing through champions. Petone on your left, captained today by 2000 All Black Jason O'Halloran, and Upper Hutt, who themselves have played some pretty solid football in the 2001 season. The referee is Neville McAllister. And the Upper Hutt team, they come into the game with 6 wins and 5 losses, 28 competition points, and they qualified 6th. And the cut-off this year was 27 points. And by comparison, Petone come into the game 8 wins and 3 losses, 38 competition points, and they qualified 3rd. And Murray Pierce, both these teams on their day will be a serious threat to this year's comp.
Oh, absolutely, especially that Upper Hutt team. I think they're the surprise team of this winter. They and the other thing about this Upper Hutt team is that they've made the top 8, which they're very pleased about, but also they've beaten 4 of the other 7 teams in the that have made the Jubilee Cup. So Upper Hutt have had a good year.
So there it is, the top 8 teams in goal. 27 points was the cut-off this year. It was 22 points last year, and it was very, very close in the end with Western Suburbs, Johnsonville and Tawa still alive in the last round and a big chance to get promoted. But overall, a very closely contested first round Swindale Shield competition, Murray.
Yeah, no, it was a good close competition with Avalon coming through at the end. But just out there today, there's a good shot and a very strong northerly coming, and that's Upper Hutt have won the toss. They elected to take the northerly that's behind them in the first half. So it's going from right to left on your screen, and it will make a big difference, gusting 60, sometimes 90 knots.
So Upper Hutt in pretty good position as they roll around to the open side. After Craig Hammond won a good line out, now Foster going across the face of the Petone defence. Leighton Olsen coming back on the inside. They're 24 metres out from the Petone line. James King, the representative halfback. Hammond wasn't expecting it, standing still. Now the pick and go continued by Petty Kenny. Good work by Tialata, almost. Now King, Foster, puts a little kick in behind, and too big. That wind is going to be a big test. And the Petone team today, Monga Kofotolu is at fullback, Willie Collins and Willie Moala. The wings and a star-studded midfield combination. Current All Black Tana Umanga and former All Black Jason O'Halloran, who is the captain today. Darren Carpenter, of course, is the Wairarapa Bush first 5'8", and Dan Curtin makes a welcome return after a couple of weeks of injury.
Now I think, Ken, that's where an interesting battle is going to be today. James King versus Dan Curtin. I think that'll be very interesting. Dan Curtin coming back from injury.
And the Petone forward pack, Cam Warren, John McCormick and Daniel Ferrani. The back 3, Molina and Roger Walker, who's a former Wellington representative, are the locks. Thomas Tupiovao, Andy Parsons and Nehemiah Tialata, just out of Wellington College. As Andy Parsons goes forward for Petone, and McAllister blows for an infringement. Now Daniel Ferrani, 5 metres short of the halfway. No field position yet for Petone. Umanga with his first touch goes just over the advantage line by a couple of metres. And the infringement. Of all of the Super 12 players, Murray, Tana Umanga's been one of the enthusiastic ones as far as his club.
Yeah, there he is on your screen, Tana Umanga. He's plays extremely well for no matter what team that he fronts up for, and he's a good club man too. At any chance he has to play for his club, he loves getting those Petone colours on.
Darren Carpenter. There he is, a key member for the Wairarapa Bush representative side this year in the NPC 3rd Division. Throwing Murray's going to be difficult today.
Yeah, no, it's really restrictive to the line-out options, simply because the wind is so strong that the line-out options are really only the front and the middle jumpers. A throw down the back, I think, is just going to be whisked away by that strong northerly. So, but here's a good chance for Petone to consolidate.
Another infringement. Dan Curtin gets on with things quickly. And McAllister's not happy, so they're going to reset again. Now Thomas Tupuoval pushes away a couple of defenders. 23 metres out, good position. Tialata goes forward, setting for a big play. Now Carpeny, Jason O'Halloran presents nicely. They switch to left side. Carpeny, a long ball for Daniel Ferrani, puts a right foot step on before offloading for Moala. So Petone build. Now the right side again, Tupuoval. Driving phase number 4 for Petone. Good lead up. Now Carpeny, Umanga. Puts the bump on Craig Foster. They continue through the right side. Nice ball for Monga Kofotolo, who's going to get the first try. Comes around a little way to improve the position, but in the end, too much go forward, too much ball, a good field position, well organised, and Monga Kofotolo ends up with an easy finish. And have a look at the power here shown just prior to that. Tana Umanga put a big play on, committing that defence. But good build-up, Murray.
Yeah, it was. And Upper Hutt are going to have to be very careful in their discipline. It was, I think, 3 penalties and an indirect free kick that got Petone just gradually up the field. And then Petone got in the attacking position. They were patient with their build-up. And you see the secret was the quick ball that the O'Hallorans and the Umangas presented back. And eventually, we'll see on the replay, it was just sheer weight of numbers. And the Upper Hutt players getting up, marking very closely. And the ball goes wide. And you'll see Monga Kofotolo, there's the Upper Hutt sort of player, went for the intercept, missed completely, try scored.
So 5 points to 0 with Darren Carpeny unable to convert on the Avery Ford scoreboard. Craig Foster, who came on and played the last quarter for Wellington against Manawatu earlier this week. Cam Warren. Now Tupuoval catch and pass for Ferrani. Tries to step on the inside, slips over. And Neville McAllister indicating the Petone players making contact with each other. Tefetu's the fullback for Upper Hutt today. Richie Anderton and Taula are the wingers. Leighton Olsen, who was outstanding for one against 102 earlier on, is in the centres with Almata, and Craig Foster and James King the halves. As Upper Hutt drive away, good work Nathan Russell. Good work by Kofotolo though, in good position. Now Carpeny, O'Halloran. A good half break from the representative second 5'8", offloading for Carpeny. Presented nicely. Plenty of confidence Petone showing early on. O'Halloran, Umanga, Tupuoval goes to the line. Umanga stays alive. Now Kofotolo trying to go on the outside. Good support play as well. Willie Collins gets the inside ball. Roger Walker continues the drive. O'Halloran there. Now Ferrani at first receiver. A long ball out wide for Tialata. In some space to big prop. That ball, Moala now. That ball came off an Upper Hutt hand. So Tialata again showing plenty of enthusiasm. The big front rower just out of Wellington College. Now Andy Parsons coming back on the inside. The ball's loose. Dan Curtin. Upper Hutt, that's the goal line just to the right of your screen. The work's continued by Petone as they inch their way forward. 6 or 7 phases of play. Now Curtin, Carpeny, long ball for Umanga. And in the end, Thomas Tupuoval gets the easy finish. But a very, very well coordinated and well disciplined play by Petone, controlling that ball through, I think, 7 or 8 phases, Murray.
That's right, yeah, stylish play. That's Petone rugby at the best. Upper Hutt just completely shot to pieces. Gee, that Nemia Tialata impresses me. The big prop featured twice, and it was just there again, sheer weight of numbers. His propping teammate over for an easy try. Upper Hutt, they've got a lot of work to do because Upper Hutt have the benefit of the strong wind. You don't want to be at least 10 points down so early in the game with that strong wind behind you, because the way Upper Hutt's playing, you give them a chance, they're going to take it.
So nice long ball, and then in the end, Umanga puts Tupuoval away with an easy pass. No defenders in front of him. Frustration there from the Upper Hutt team. A handy position for Darren Carpeny. He's able to convert easily, so pushes the score out to 12 points 2-0.
Good to see the Umangers and the O'Hallorans out there. You see their little touches of class. They're backing up each other, and there's just good, nice, just simple passing on that occasion for that try. But before leading up to the try, we saw Umanga doubling round and looking for work, and that's just kept the momentum going. And gee, Roger Walker too, showing good legs for the Petone forwards.
Well, it's a sensible decision for the Petone coaching staff to bring back Roger Walker, because Hammett's going to leave a big hole with his absence.
Yeah, absolutely, and a great player, Hammett, and Roger Walker, though, he's got that experience too. So Petone not lacking anything in that tight five.
So now Carpenter, another long ball for Umanga, another long ball for Daniel Ferrani. He's got Collins on the outside, draw and pass. He's got numbers inside and outside, and Willie Collins, Tana Umanga. They stay alive. Petone, the ball's loose. Jason O'Halloran couldn't take it in the end. Almost guilty, Earl Curtin, of having too many players in support and too much choice.
Well, he actually did feed the outside. That was the classic. And then it came back to Umanga, and it was just the pass was a wee bit erratic. He put it one hand back inside, I think, to O'Halloran. He just knocks on here. So it'll be up ball into the scrum.
So good play down the right side.
It's that ball there. Poor pass from an All Black, wasn't it? Heavens above. A one-arm paper hanger.
That's right. Well, we do expect high standards from our All Blacks, Tunner.
I won't say too much. He looks pretty big out there. We could get it. We could get a wasting, as they call it.
Signs aren't good, are they?
No. Well, we saw from the 2 or 3 appearances that Tana Umanga in particular made with Petone last year, his presence and the confidence around him. And if this is any indication, bearing in mind that Upper Hutt beat Petone 15-11 in the first round. And the way that this game has started so far, Murray, spells some ominous signs for Upper Hutt.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Petone have dominated all the ball, but what ball they've had, they've used sensibly. No kicking, they've kept the ball in hand, and why not when you've got classy backs that they've got. But the other thing about having the stars back is it lifts the rest of the Petone players too, because they lift their standard up another level.
Well, it's not only that. Did you see then, if you're watching off screen, and we didn't quite have it on in the picture, was O'Halloran was chatting to Darren Carpenter. No, and there was bits and pieces, and he was giving him, he was instructing him basically on what was on and what wasn't. And that's the beauty of having All Blacks, as you were saying, Percy, before. They're wonderful coaches.
Cam Warren goes down before the line, loses the ball. And Tefetu looking for position. Monga Kofatolu on the counter-attack. That right foot step of his again. Offloading for Umanga. Ball is loose. Comes back on Petone's side. Tialata. Nathan Russell tries to stay on his feet and compete for the ball. And in the end, he does enough.
Yeah, Upper Hutt are going to have to be careful with their tactics, obviously, coming out here with that strong wind running onto the field. They thought, okay, let's kick for possession and position. But, gee, they're 12 points down after 12 minutes. They're going to have to reassess that approach, because Petone they'll get their hands on that ball and just score another try down the end. So Upper Hutt, I believe, should try and keep the ball in hand and just get some confidence and go forward in their play.
I still think, though, Murray, they've got to put it down. I mean, I don't think you can play any other way with a classy back line liable to break out all the time, like Petone are. I think they do have to go for position.
But they must kick away from the Petone player, mustn't they?
True.
Their kicks must be accurate.
But I thought it'd be interesting today, the battle between the Upper Hutt forwards and the Petone backs, basically. I don't think the Petone forwards have gone well at all this year. They went well last week against MSP, but they've been an on-off outfit, haven't they? They haven't really put together. They got a real hiding from Paniki. And Upper Hutt aren't bad close to the fringes.
Eric Forsyth with the win. Curtin with the ball back for Moala, coming off his wing, looking for work. Now they promote wide again. O'Halloran can't take it.
Well, that was a tough call. That ball went back then too, but still, once you drop it, it's always going to be marginal, isn't it?
Jason O'Halloran to Italy and France last year with the All Blacks. Daniel Curtin and James King. That will be an interesting contest, as Murray Pearce alluded to before. Now King trying to go inside Carpenter. Curtin gets him to the deck on cue. 18 metres out. Upper Hutt pick and go. Nathan Russell waits. Now Matt Ingerson turns. Russell gets the ball back. The forwards come in. It's on the ground. James King waits. Numbers to the left-hand side. To Fetu. Long ball for Leighton Olsen going inside O'Halloran easily. Ingerson stays alive. 15 metres out now, Upper Hutt. Good work through 4 or 5 phases. The ball's been taken by, well, Cam Warren had it. Tried to throw a ball back one-handed. Upper Hutt have got it back so they can start again.
Yes, it was 2 intercepts, one by Petone, then almost simultaneously one by Upper Hutt. I thought too the Upper Hutt fella ran into his own man. King lost that ball forward too there in that picking it up.
To Fetu going forward on the left side. James King, left then right. Taken by Carpenter. The ball's loose. It's Petty Kenny standing at first receiver. And Tony player offside. Cormac is the blind side, open side flanker.
Good tackling by Petone, PSE, didn't you think, by the heavies, the close boys?
Yeah, especially close in, but Upper Hutt, the forwards looked to be pretty disorganised. They didn't really look as though they knew what pattern or what was supposed to be happening. A lot of individual efforts going out there, so of course that made the defence a lot easier, just worrying about the one Upper Hutt player because yeah, they looked to be just a wee bit lost there, stuck in the midfield, not really knowing which option to take.
Yeah, that's a fair call. And then they tuck too. Once the moment you see a guy tuck, you know he's not going to unload it. No, not quickly anyhow, and you've got to then starting to concentrate and knocking him over. And the Petone heavies did that.
Of course, we've got the new mauling rule coming in too. That's been in, well, it's now into its 2nd week. But I think possibly just a wee bit early for some of these teams to adapt.
To Fetu, no problems for him.
You say that about club level. At Poverty Bay playing Hawke's Bay the other day, they played the concept of their game had changed dramatically in the course of the year. They were both trying to punch down the middle of maul, and they really pushed the ball about. It was an excellent game.
Yeah, good. So you think the new rule will work?
I think Cowboy Shaw's got onto it anyhow. He's giving it heaps with Hawke's Bay. They're playing very close and tight, and letting the backs do the running. It's quite a simple approach, but by Jove, it was effective.
Yeah, good.
So Petone do well, able to retain the ball from the kickoff. Dan Curtin waits, plenty of numbers out to the right-hand side. Now there's an advantage. Curtin keen to get on with it. One thing you can be sure with O'Halloran and Umang are out that they will be calling for the ball, Earl, off every play.
There's not much point in them being there in this cool wind. They're not going to get the ball. What do you think I'm playing for? Come back, help you backers out, and I don't get the ball. I mean, you can imagine, can't you?
Yeah, well, I think that when Tana played here last year for Petone against Old Boys University, they won 74-17, and he probably handled the ball more times, Murray, than any other player on the park.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't he? He was very keen to play.
He scored 4 or 5 himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he laid it. He could have done another, almost 10. He laid about another 4 off.
A couple of times in the end goal, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I remember seeing it.
Very unselfish thing to do.
So I guess the Petone club will be a wee bit frustrated. It's taken so long for Jason O'Halloran to get back in the Petone colours again. Oh, well, he didn't have an onerous Super 12 series.
Well, he thought he was going to, and one would expect that to be so on last year's form.
Well, that's right. If there's any,
but he was just a bit stiff. He got hurt and then didn't quite get the breaks, as one says.
That's right. Burnout has been the word of the 2001 season of New Zealand rugby.
The interesting player for Upper Hutt is Olsen. I think he's a fine player. He's never really played, Upper Hutt have never really been good enough to give him many chances, but I think he could be an excellent player and a good back line. I'd be very interested to see how he goes with some good players around him.
Well, he was the best back on the park, Bill, in Wellington's game against Manawatu on Monday by a mile.
God, was it?
A terrific game.
And he's on the wing, is he?
No, he's centre.
Centre today.
Okay. Centre today, but he played on the wing. He was terrific.
Oh, he's got wheels, and he's a wee bit humorous too. He's got a bit of style.
Tola.
He's got a dry sense of humour, which one doesn't find necessarily in modern day play.
Does that help him play better?
Yes, it does. It does if you're on the wing. You can lay it off and you don't get quite so intense, you know.
Things like character, personality and conversation are becoming almost things of the past.
Well, this is why we have a sports psychologist these days. You know?
What, to drum it out of them?
And some of Pine Tree's sort of, whiz kids associates that he complains about regularly.
Chris Molina drives. Thomas Tupiova, he can't hold the ball. Matt Ingerson, he's been solid, the number 8 for Upper Hutt this season as well. James King waits, numbers on the left-hand side. Aaron Lloyd.
Oh dear. Well, does emphasise my earlier point
No,
that they
just
look
saying,
a bit disorganised.
I don't think Tui should have been in there. That ball was going out to that slick midfield. He decided he could take it, but the velocity of the ball made it very difficult to take. And he put his hands up to catch that ball from Daniel Curtin.
Andy Parsons. Darren Carpenter. 121 points so far, and he will kick a truckload of points for Wairarapa Bush in the representative season. Tupi Oval now goes forward, 24 metres out, held up. 5-second rule. Is it 5 seconds when it stops, Murray?
Yeah, they're allowed to get the forward momentum, and now if it stops, oh, well, yeah, the ball's going to come back, but yes, they're allowed 1 5-second stoppage.
Set plate, Carpenter on a double around, and oh, what a shame. That would have been good for the game if he'd been able to get that Upper Hutt. Darren Carpenter now tidies up. And it's Fraser Tani, I think, in 17.
But those are 2 good passes, though. Even so, he took his life in his hands and had to go, had to.
It would have been a try, I'd say, if the pass had come off.
It would have been.
Here it is on the replay. Oh, it would have been 2.
50 metres. He only had
try
about
either
30
way
to go. Had to be on. One way or the other, exactly, Ken.
So Dan Curtin, centre field position. Warren off the back. Set play. Forward pass for Tana Umanga. Lost it forward. Play on. Good advantage play by the referee. Tola is taken by Roger Walker. Dan Curtin holds him up. On the 10-metre line, it's lost forward by Upper Hutt. So after initially making the error themselves, Petone, they fortuitously are going to be rewarded with the feet at the scrum.
Yeah, no, just a pity there, that man on your screen, Taylor, just Kenny's, I think it was, wasn't it? That couldn't. The ball was coming back nicely. All he had to do was really sort of bridge over the ball and just let it go back to the good quick ball back to halfback. But no, opted to try and pick it up, knocked on, and Petone would just love to get that hand. Oh no, tight head time.
Gee, they've got a big pack.
Yeah.
Upper Hutt, this is a good pack. Ingerson is a big unit there on the right. Petty Kenny here on the left of your screen, a blindside flanker. He's a big unit. Those 2 locks. It's no surprise that they're in the Jubilee Cup and in it comfortably. Now Curtin thinks about a lefto, switches back now on the left side for Carpenter. Gets away from Tefetu. Presents the ball nicely. Good work by McCormick. They drive over Petone. Carpenter again. Switches back the right side for Tana Umanga. Puts a little chip for himself. He's going to get a good bounce. O'Halloran's going to get it. No, good work by Upper Hutt coming away with it. Anderson. Petone penalised for offside. Thomas Tupiovau. Will he be a contender for the Wellington NPC team in 2001?
He's got a tremendous amount of talent, and he played particularly well at 18 and 19. I think he's now about 21 too. I think he's just going into that, you know, that sort of where they flatten a wee bit, young guys. And you have to wait to see if they're going to really take that next step up. He's what I call, he hasn't quite made the big jump yet. You'd still be interested in him because 1, he is big. 2, he has got a tremendous amount of talent. 3, he's got good hands and can pass.
His form sort of plateaued out a bit, Kirill, isn't it?
Exactly what I'm saying.
Pity, he's got so much to play for with Wellington lacking in props, not only at NPC but Super 12 level. So, gee, what a great...
And he's a good ball player.
Exactly, he's got great all-round skills and mobility. But it's those top 2 inches that we really need to see him get into. Here we go.
Darren Carpenter again, opening them up. Thinks about a kick. Makes the ball available for Willie Collins. Cam Warren can't take it cleanly. Monga Kofatolu.
The passing's too wild Petone passing. When they're going to deck, they're just firing it backwards and hope. You've got to fit all 50-50 passes. Into the wind, you've got to be more careful than that. They've got to put shorter balls, and they've got to get more guys on the rumps too. Carpenter's broken twice, 3 times now, and there hasn't been a guy within cooey of him, and he's had to wait 10 minutes, go to deck before he gets rid of the ball.
We'll see on the replays there that the flick back passing is working. I suppose they've got a 12-point buffer, but you're quite right there. But Petone are playing the style of rugby they love, and that's counter-attacking, and that's keeping the ball alive. But just got to be a wee bit careful, especially with the conditions.
Yes, they can hang on to it just a bit more rather than flipping it back.
Free kick, James King. onto it quickly, taken by McCormick.
That's his long shot, James King, isn't it? Every time he goes very quickly from hit the free kicks.
Chris Molina showing some aggression. Well, by comparison, Murray, Upper Hutt are going to want a stop-start, more of a contest type game as opposed to continuity, aren't they?
Well, absolutely. They want to slow down to break up that rhythm of the Petone team. And Petone, I suppose in the last 10 minutes, Petone haven't been able to break out with ease. Upper Hutt have increased their defensive workload and effort. But, yeah, you're right. Upper Hutt looked to me like a team that really plays well around set pieces.
So this is good position for them. Opportunity to put on a set play off, Upper Hutt.
Well, I still think they'll just run midfield, and then they'll run off hopefully they'll suggest a quick ruck or more. They'll drive it. Yes, they are.
So Forsyth with the win for Upper Hutt. King to Fett, who's gone to 5'8" now. Long ball for Leighton Olsen. Can't do much with it. Well, he was hitting a hole, Leighton Olsen, and they were going for pinpoint accuracy with the passer and the receiver, and in the end the defenders got there at the same time. As a result, Petone going to come away with a feed at scrum.
He was trying to pick up your line and go back on that cut, that inside cut. Your line meaning the leagueies line, Ken. But it was well read by O'Halloran, and he stayed inside and stayed in his ground and went.
Well, of course, it will be a line that O'Halloran and Umaga will be very familiar with. They'll run that line together for
coming from that same deprived sort of background that you had.
Umaga loses the ball forward. There's an advantage. Russell with the kick on it. And this ball's going to go dead, so they're going to go back for a scrum, will they? After Nathan Russell kicked the ball dead.
Petone did well out of that.
They did. The wind. I don't know whether it was Petone or the wind should get the credit. Umaga, some doubt about that calf injury. I was talking to him the day before the All Black camp, and he said the calf was playing up.
Calves play up. Calves play up and gambol many times, around the paddocks.
Especially the more experienced players.
That's right, and it looks like
camp coming up.
The day after the camp finished, his calf came right. But it's good to see that he's got the strap on anyway. Ingerson, King, good tackle from Kurt. Now Petty Kenny, Craig Hammond, halfback slow, so it's Eric Forsyth. King's there now. Puts a little kick into the box area. And we're coming back for a penalty. I think the penalty was for an infringement by Petone.
That would
now,
be.
Thanks, Ken.
14, Anderson. I didn't see what the infringement was, though.
No, none of that.
Your statement
That's
was
what we're worried about.
Obviously, that's right. Well, I'm in charge of stating the obvious today. I reckon it's a penalty to Petone, and that guy there, 15, is going to have a shot at goal. To Fetu.
Of course, the other thing too with the All Blacks having their camp this week, I noticed that one of their exercises that has involved, one of their key activities has been called potassium decrement testing.
What's that? PDT.
Show how fit you are, what your concentration of potassium is after exertion.
So how do you work that out?
You take a blood test.
Oh, why don't they just say blood testing?
It measures fitness levels and how fatigued players might be after strenuous activity.
Absolutely.
Fetu's not a regular goalkeeper.
I'm not sure if Colin Meads would be a great fan of that particular testing, but it's there. If it helps the All Blacks win, we're all behind it.
Oh, well, in this professional era with so much money being available and so many jobs and roles and person specifications or whatever the hell they call them for people come 15-3.
I see, Earl, now that the All Blacks have a management team of 12, which is slightly more than you and I ever experienced.
Yes, I agree.
Leighton Olsen gets the ball and Jason O'Halloran at the same time.
They also have 36 players and a squad going away on tour these days too.
instead of the what?
PSC, instead of the 30 at most if you were going on a 3-month tour. If you're only going on a 2-month tour, you're only allowed 26.
So Petone drives forward. Now Rudman.
First All Black tour made in '84. We had a manager, a coach, and a physio. That was it. Game, set, match. And we won.
Oh, Mata, you're starting to sound like a dinosaur, Murray.
Yeah, sorry. Try and draw a parallel.
Umunga down the left side. Carpini through the hands. Ferrani. Oh, just come up with a forward pass. They're in trouble, Upper Hutt.
Did he get that from, the referee get that from his side man? Is he wired up? I don't think he is he? No. Not today.
No, but they do signal to each other.
I think that he found...
Sign language.
Flag. Yeah,
he was nowhere, it was nowhere in position to judge that forward, basically. Unless it was miles forward. And it didn't look miles forward from here.
So good position now for Upper Hutt, 24 metres out. King with the feed. Ingerson down the blind, taken by Ferrani. Petone just on the 22-metre line there. Now King for Tefetu. Inside ball for Russell. Still outside the 22. Petone have done well. I think that's Andy Parsons that's come away with the ball. Now Umunga. Willie Collins with the chip over Tola, and it's going to go out.
No right foot.
You don't, yes, pretty obvious, isn't it? You don't chip with your left on a right-hand touch. Not only that, into the wind, he shouldn't be kicking either. Chip kick to score, we say, Piercy, don't we?
Yeah, or if you've got players in support like Petone have had, just keep the ball in hand.
Yes.
Now Tefetu inside for Tola. Set play gets a high shot from Daniel Ferrani. No malice in it, but it's careless. I've seen far worse than that. Daniel Ferrani.
Yes.
Wellington Sevens representative. A Manu Samoa Sevens representative. Look at this. Well, there's nothing in that, but it's high-ish, I suppose.
Just that the guy was a hang of a lot shorter than Ferrani is, that's all, really. He's put his arms out in the normal position to stop him. It was...
Well, of course, tackling high and tackling ball and all is something that we've really encouraged in the last 3 or 4 years because of the invention of the use it or lose it rule, hasn't it?
Well, I think it's actually vital. It's become more vital. Everyone's saying, well, put them on, put them down, put them on the ground, put them on the ground, and then they've got to play it back. I'm pretty keen to get in and see if you've got strong men to go and go for the ball rather than the man and lock it up.
Tefetu goes across the line. Now Tola coming off the left wing's been very busy in the last couple of plays. That's the goal line. Good opportunity now for Upper Hutt. King wants the ball. It's slow coming back, allowing Petone some time to readjust. Leighton Olsen's missed out. Oh, Forsyth can't take the ball cleanly. So Petone.
That's fatal, though. Just see, having a look, waiting for it. That ball should have gone like a rocket earlier than it did from that ruckamore of Upper Hutt. Yeah, the halfback held on to it just before that, looking round both sides. He should have known which side you go and that you let it go. It's the speed of the ball is what you want when you're hard on attack before they can get organised again, the defence.
Gosh, they were 4 on 2 as well, Upper Hutt. 20 turnovers already in the game.
Yeah, we've had 32 minutes, so 8 minutes to go. 8 minutes for Upper Hutt to make use of this wind, and they squashed and wasted a valuable opportunity just before. Now Upper Hutt, if they show their normal patience, will just slowly grind their way out of the half.
Tell me that wasn't a penalty now. That Upper Hutt player put both his knees up into the Petone chap to try and hold the ball in, so to speak. In other words, wasn't allowing him to play it after the tackle. Right in front of the rep. Am I refereeing one side here?
Well, you're entitled to have an interest in the Petone team for very obvious reasons. Well, no, understand that.
Well, no, but I played for Upper Hutt. I should be more impartial than that. And I love playing for Upper Hutt.
I'm sure your brother Rex here today, I guess.
They're a Butte gang, and the family's been associated with Upper Hutt forever.
Kofotolu.
Chips.
Held up in the wind, so it's easy for King to defuse a short bomb. Tola, he's had a terrific game, comes back off the left foot. Gets away from Curtin, taken by Cam Warren.
They've pinned him though, the body round the wrong way.
They've done very, very well, Petone, defensively on that occasion. Plenty of defenders. And Tola, who's been busy. 23-22. Probably Petone's best win of the season so far last week against Marison Pats. 15-42 they got beaten by Paniki in what wasn't a great day for Petone. Carpeny, O'Halloran shows a little dummy on the inside and goes to the line himself, Jason. Does well, 15-metre gain on the drive, the pick and go for the third face. They go left again for Nehemiah Tialata. Doesn't he look like a veteran for a kid so young? Now Carpeny, cut out ball for Umaga, can't take it. O'Halloran tries to tidy up.
Well, you wouldn't say Tana's having a startling game with his hands.
Very rusty, isn't he? O'Halloran also dropping a few passes. But you mentioned Nehemiah Tialata. He's really impressed me. Just out of the first 15, Wellington College last year, straight into the Petone Premier team. Played extremely well last week, and probably one of the tougher games, and that's against Marison Pats. And here he is out here today, and he loves running with that ball. And if he keeps improving at the current rate, he's going to be a very good prop for Wellington.
There's a problem with the Petone side, though. There's that gap between the penetrator or the chap going forward and the next wave. The wave's not close enough. The Lucy's aren't getting there, basically.
You're quite right, Earl. If you've got the the Umangas and the O'Hallorans making space out in the centres, you need that second wave there very quick, and it's up to either the closest back or the open side flanker to get there smartly and just preserve that ball.
Gisborne, of course, is part of the Hurricanes franchise area, and Joe Duffy in Wellington and part of the academy. And difficult with the wind. Daniel Ferrani. Carpeny. It might not be apparent to you at home, but the ground conditions are very difficult, particularly for Petone.
It's a very stiff, gusty wind.
Joe Duffy with Craig Hemmon jumping at the front and Forsyth at the back, and it's Hemmon, hits him in the face. Well, lineouts too at times, Murray, have become very, very complicated assignments for what one would assume. Not being a lineout forward myself, that you throw to your guy who you've practiced all week and he should win it.
Yeah, and the other thing too, if you're throwing the ball in and your line-out jumper's getting the ball, keep throwing it to him all game. It amazed me, especially at Super 12 level, just how complicated they made a very simple art.
So Petone on a set plate. First 5 second, 5 centre involved in the run around. Now they come back to the right side. Roger Walker tries to commit those Upper Hutt defenders and stop them sliding out wide. He does well, presents the ball for Curtin. Long for Carpeny. Tana Umaga coming back on the inside, presents it again. Daniel Ferrani wasn't looking. James King comes away with it. He puts the boot. Good chase coming from Fraser Tana. Willie Moala's under some pressure. Kofotolu as well. So this could be a good play for Upper Hutt if they can win the ball. Umaga shows some aggression in defence. Upper Hutt drive over and they get the feed at the scrum. So Petone were good through the first couple of phases, Earl, then they lost it.
Yes, again, that handling. They're not pitching the ball. They're all getting too flat. They're all trying to front run. They're all worried about gas or hitting the hole before they're actually taking the ball. There's a psychological hang-up there, Ken. They've got to stay deeper and come closer with a wind like that. When you see All Blacks with good hands like O'Halloran and Umaga dropping it, surely that gives the rest of them the message. You've got to play closer and got to play a wee bit deeper if you're going to run into the wind. And they can't afford to kick into it, so they have to run. So they should be adapting.
And in Daniel Ferrani's case, he's got to watch that ball too, doesn't he, Ken? I mean, that was how the turnover resulted. The pass was going out wide. Ferrani wasn't watching the ball. Ricocheted into Upper Hutt hands. And,
he didn't expect to get it.
No, exactly. No, he wasn't even ready for the
therefore,
pass.
as you say, therefore he wasn't watching the ball. There was a very good light flanker. Number 7 played for Petone last year, and his name escapes me.
Steve Hager.
Hager.
Terrific
Josie's terrific player at club level.
Yeah, I think he's in the UK now.
Okay.
Had a huge game in the Jubilee
By
Cup
Joes, do they miss him? Do they miss him dramatically? Not that I'm saying that McCormick is not good, but Hager was just outstanding at this level for Petone.
Yeah, well, McCormick and Ferrani are both 6s.
Correct.
Yeah. So King down the right side, ball's messy. Daniel Curtin's onto it quickly, gets a boot on it, off the Upper Hutt hand, so they're going to get to throw at the line out, Petone. He's very fast, that Daniel Curtin, Earl. Does that surprise you? Is it a family trait?
Is he used to running away from dad? Is he?
He's certainly done that this time.
He's also very skillful.
Heavens above you, Mark, and I can't defend myself.
Finally.
Petone, short throw to the front and a very solid drive. Now Curtin, Carpenny, set play, inside ball for Moala. Strong, the left winger. Good work from Andy Parsons as well. Now they switch down the left side. Carpenny, a long ball for Tupiovao. He offloads for Cam Warren. It's a good play by the big man. Tupiovao again wrapping around on the outside. McCormick. This is good lead-up work. They need quick ball now, Petone. Daniel Curtin's got caught up, so O'Halloran goes halfback. Carpenny, Nehemiah Tialata. Gee, what an impressive boy that he is. Petty Kenny gets a workout.
See, well, it wasn't a workout really. He was in the road and they were able to get, they should have been allowed to go over him too. And when all the NPC coaches accosted Mr. Lawrence, head of the referees for the New Zealand Rugby Union, about being allowed to ruck, he said you can, but I've yet to find many referees that'll actually let you. That was an example of it there at that last instance.
Yeah, well, Petty Kenny, I think, was very lucky he didn't get penalised because Petone Tialata took the ball up and they needed quick ball. It was starting to come back and then Kenny sort of flopped around.
So the referee, McAllister, blows the whistle. Neville McAllister for half-time. And what has been a frustrating game as both teams have tried to play entertaining football in difficult conditions. 15 points to 3. The home team, Petone, and playing through Jubilee Cup champions. We're back with the second half in a moment.
Jeez, I'm pleased we're in here.
I don't know how many times. I mean, the guys they should get here is Grizz when he's home. He's absolutely outstanding on it. Lowe is outstanding.
Yeah, Lowe's, yeah. Get Lowe going around the country.
I should contract him.
Who do they?
Yeah.
Get
him up.
Yeah.
Which Mick Conn, is it Mick Conn? They've been using the All Blacks.
Yeah, Conn.
Conn, yeah, not Stu though, but
no.
His brother, is it Michael Mick?
No, it's Mick Conn, but he's been doing it with Lowe. He's again a guy from North Canterbury, playing for the same club side, and they've been going around coaching mothers on.
I mean, because it's such a specialist area. You need the McDowells and the Drakes and that getting out there doing it.
Just had a chat to Mr. Lawrence, didn't we, Mr. Lawrence?
Welcome back to the Petone Recreation Ground. A second half action here of the 2001 Jubilee Cup. And the stat attack from the first half, 15-3. Obviously, that's the absolute line. Possessions 50-50. Earl, we talked about that territory statistic. We could rub out the word territory and put down the word wind.
Yes,
because
that's it.
Really, the wind has favoured territory significantly, Murray, hasn't it, as has Ruxton Mall.
Yeah, Ruxton Malls especially, because into the wind you want to get the ball in hand, and I thought Petone, especially in the first 15-20, did it very well. Started to, I think, cruise a wee bit, Petone, in the end of the first half, and I'll be interested to see. Upper Hutt got a very big forward pack, and a forward pack that I think is going to be built for playing into the wind rugby, so with interest I watch to see Upper Hutt. They must improve.
Yeah, that's it. On the return. Very, very good tackle from Kafatolu, catching him a long way behind the advantage line. Now if they can turn the ball over, they're going to get it via the scrum.
Yes, and I think the way scrums were going, I think they'd rather have it from the ruck there, Ken, rather than from a scrum. They haven't been holding the scrum square at all in the last 20, but during the last 20 minutes of the first half.
Tana Umaga ran a very interesting line in front of the Petone team from Upper Hutt. Kick-off, Carpenny goes to the line. Now Curtin, Umaga at first receiver. Throws a little dummy, gets on the outside of the defence, looking for support. Tana Umaga finds it in Monga Kafatolu's going to get a double. Too easy for Petone. Two classy players running together down the right-hand side. And Tana Umaga, plenty of work to do, standing, I think, almost on the halfway line. He was standing at first receiver, gets the ball, yeah, he's 2 metres into the half, Goes outside Almata. He's too fast for Hammond. Tola's given it up. King can't keep up. In the end, draw and pass on Anderson. And Monga Kofatola will get his name in the paper, but it's Tana Umanga's try, Earl.
Yes, it was a good build-up. They got it quickly away from that ruck or the maul, and they passed the ball out into the middle where their strength is. And Umanga turned on the gas and went on the outside of his player. Lovely outside break.
Just too fast and too strong for Almata.
He did a bit of a shimmy too. There was a touch of class in the way he upset Almata. And Kafatola will be very pleased to score a try, and I will say well done, Mr. Kafatola, because he accused me when he came to see me as a patient of bagging him at some stage. I take it all back, my friend.
Well, for the moment you will, Earl. But there's still some...
Has he paid his bill yet?
Oh, yes, he's very reliable in that way. Very
good
reliable.
kick.
Good Wainui man.
Well, when I ring the Curtin surgery to talk to Mr. Curtin, I have normally an enormous, as we see Umanga again, I have an enormous weight on the end of the phone because I'm a non-paying phone call. No, if I was a patient, I wouldn't, I'm sure I wouldn't
even answer your call.
Well, I won't ring them. Umanga lets it bounce. O'Halloran gets it. Now Umanga, this time running on the left side of the park. Kafatola. Joseph Collins has been pitched into the fray from the bench. Daniel Curtin looks for the ball. Carpeny. Tupiovao at second receiver, goes to the line, passes. Backs operating as forwards, forwards operating as backs. And Willie Collins down the right-hand side, going around. Gee, what a good try from Collins. And second five centre positions were actually filled by a front rower and a blindside flanker, putting Collins away on that right-hand side. And he had plenty of work to do. Look at this, Tupiovao, catch and pass. Daniel Ferrani, catch and pass. And then Collins, he's 65 metres out, gets away easily from Rudman. Plenty of work to do here with three cover defenders and goes around Anderson. Does him easily, and Fraser Tani can only watch from a distance. There was
three ways of beating a guy there. He took the pass beautifully and cut the outside man out. Then he did an add off, and then he had the third quality, sheer gas, and he just gassed it to the line. Spectacular. Right in front of the stand over there too. They all clapped. Willie, you did well.
I'm really concerned about this phone call business. If we happen to buy a lotto ticket, the three of us, and I'm holding it and we win it, you guys will be waiting a long time for the phone call. Darren Carpeny is about 34 metres out, and with the benefit of a reasonable, well, what about that?
Where the ball flew.
Look at this. Prop, blindside flanker, right side winger, 65 metres out. Too fast for the front rower.
Good dive though.
Good dive. He dived from 4 miles out.
It looked good from this angle.
Don't mock the wee fat popo. He tried.
He was out there.
Umanga again. Ooh. Big impression from Tana Umanga. Monga Kofatola. Yeah, some good cover defence now, but he stays alive, Kofatola. Some aggressive defence from Upper Hutt. Now Curtin, Darren Carpeny, Tana Umanga. They go wide for Tupiovao, Daniel Ferrani. This time it's a bad pass. Whistle's gone. Craig Hammond. Well, some excitement from Petone to open the second half.
Well, yes, and most of the play, to be fair, has been coming from Umanga, and they're starting to hang and wait for him now. And now the gaps are appearing on the outside. But that was a lovely round the corner pass from Umanga. He went through the gap, held the ball up, and freed Kafatola on the outside. Good ball. Good skills.
Murray, what do you make of this kid Craig Hammond, who's been making pretty steady progress the last 2 or 3 seasons? He's a good prospect, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's had the odd game for Wellington and the I think some of the development teams. Yeah, good workhorse. Also, quite enjoyed watching number 4 for Upper Hutt today, Eric Forsyth. Yeah, coming from Canada. Not a big man, but he obviously with the lifting rules, it's not too big a problem. And Hammond out there today playing a number 5 with the headgear on.
Ingerson off the back, offloading on the inside. Good strong play from Upper Hutt. Forwards working hard around the ruck and maul area. Now they drive third phase. Good stuff. They just need to get some control and maintain the ball. Give themselves a chance, but it's been turned over. Umanga, O'Halloran, Collins is on the outside, comes back on the inside. O'Halloran pushes a couple off. Now Collins. Kofotolu's interfered with. That's the goal line. Ball's knocked on. There should be a penalty. And it's been missed. Monga Kofotolu was trailing on the inside and was interfered with. Couldn't get the pass cleanly. But good play from Collins and O'Halloran. Keep an eye on Kofotolu on the inside. On 15, there he is. He's held back. Missed by the official. A good play by Upper Hutt if you can get away with it. A few times myself,
I'm certainly not holier than thou either. I had to accidentally on purpose falling
That's
over
right.
in front of somebody.
fall over in a heap, apologising madly.
Carpenter's at first 5-8 for Petone. He's obviously set himself up to have a real crack at his Wellington counterpart, in a sense, in that Foster's played a few games for Wellington at first 5-8, and he's very keen to take him on defence. And I think that with the 2 or 3 clear breaks he's made, I might have to say he's certainly, I'd say, 3 up at present.
McCormick tidies up. Thomas Tupival's got an arm. Now Curtin for Carpeny. Bodies in motion. The ball's gone loose. Carpeny tidies up, went back. Numbers on the right-hand side. Carpeny runs a long time for Kofotolu. And that's a hat-trick, is it, for Monga Kofotolu? And did very, very well. Again, it was a set-piece play with bodies in motion. We'll see on the replay. With second 5 and centre, O'Halloran and Umanga won the receiver and won the decoy runner trying to free it up. The receiver was Umanga. The ball was loose, but it came backwards and didn't go forward, so Carpeny was allowed to roll on. So have a look. It's a good long pass from Curtin off the ground. Carpeny goes to the line. 2 dummies. Ball goes backward, gets on the inside of Leighton Olsen. And it just shows you the effectiveness of the move. It goes wrong and they still come up with a try.
Yes, that's absolutely true, because the cut had held them in. It held the defenders in, and the space was always on out wide. It's really the sort of the concept the All Blacks should be getting into, isn't it? They've somehow got to get that logistical problem of getting it from the forwards inside to their wonderful outside backs. And the outside backs would be the most penetrating backs anywhere in the world at present. When you have a look at the Australian side they picked tonight to play against the Maoris, you wouldn't say any of them would actually worry you on attack if you're a defender. As a collective unit they are, but it's I think New Zealand can go particularly well this year, and I reckon they will improve dramatically to go well if they can get that logistical problem, getting it from the insides and have the forwards playing as forwards to feed those wonderful outside backs. And Petone are demonstrating at a lesser level exactly that here today with the win.
Well, that's probably the most positive thing I've heard anybody say publicly about the All Blacks for some time, Murray.
But it amazes, being the back expert that I am on the skills that are needed, why don't we do the double miss passes? You know, get it out wide, get it out to Lomu with a bit of room to move.
They're starting to get onto it. I can tell you now, they're starting to train it and get onto it, because they realise that it has to be.
Good. So Tana Umanga, I think, has left the field. He's putting a tracksuit on the sideline. August Collins has come on, the representative centre against Manawatu. Matt Ingerson on your screen has only wanted for opportunities today, the big number 8. Already 3 tries this year. He's been pretty impressive, Matt Ingerson. Very tough, very strong, very uncompromising.
Now here we go on, not straight into the line-out. And it was Petone's throw that gets a bit ridiculous in a win like this, when it just comes offline. But the referee's worried about the score running away, I suppose. And when you referee, you try to even the thing up a bit.
So August Collins has gone to second 5. Jason O'Halloran to centre. Matt Ingerson comes away from the back, stands and offloads. 19 for Upper Hutt is Mike Yorworth. The drive away Upper Hutt. This aspect of their game has been pretty solid today. Just been able to put the points on the back of it is where they've struggled, Earl.
Yes, exactly that. They just haven't had the class of back to be able to penetrate. Not only that, it comes back, the first 5-8 stands still too. I think it's the biggest blemish that we have in New Zealand rugby, and why we haven't got ginormous back play right down through the grades. too many first 5/8 stand still. I don't know who coaches them to, but they seem to.
Well, Wayne Smith was a running 5/8, so it obviously wouldn't be him, would it? Yeah.
Well, no.
Well, you'd think that he would have a dominant say, wouldn't he? Over
Well, I
what
think
sort of
about
5/8 was
somehow or
producing
other
the
wonder
first
who's been
day?
coaching the school coaches in recent times.
Tana Umanga and Cade, his son. Surprisingly good-looking boy. The mother Rochelle, I can tell you, if those who don't know, she's very attractive. That's the reason why. 25 metres out now. Upper Hutt. If they don't get a result today, and it seems increasingly unlikely as time ticks away, they will probably rue the fact that they didn't make better of their first half, Murray.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. It's, Upper Hutt just haven't had a chance today. Really beaten in a lot of facets. This is one area that we were seeing on our screen now, is one area where Upper Hutt are starting to get confidence, and it's good to see a wee bit of mauling going on. You see Petone having to commit a lot more opposition players there. Unfortunately going to deck, so but Upper Hutt, good to see them, as I mentioned before at half time, that they've got a big forward pack built for into the wind rugby. Now we'll see how the backs can do. And that's what happens when you give the ball to the backs.
Gilbert Kelly for Upper Hutt now punches away forward. James King on the left side for Petty Kenny. Taken ball and all by Dan Curtin, who hangs on. Thomas Tupuovar was in there as well. Now Andy Parsons. They've done very, very well there. Dan Curtin in particular. Really, it was a pipsqueak on a dump truck trying to stop the size-wise. And he hung on for dear life, did enough to hold the ball up. Now the Petone rewarded with the scrum. Boy's got some courage as well, Murray.
Yeah, he didn't shirk his responsibilities. There he is, just getting himself back together again after that melee into the middle of the ruck and the ball. But you could see him, he just gritted his teeth and held on for dear life onto that ball. And
he was trying to find some rationale for taking on a 9'7" tank, thinking to himself, my old man had never done this.
But I noticed that the strength was such that the tank couldn't get his body to the ground. So whatever you fed that son of yours, Earl, he's
Wheat
doing
Bix,
well.
Wheat Bix.
Wheat Bix, of course.
That's all he'll have, Wheat Bix and Yogi.
Okay.
But he was quite serious this morning when he was leaving the house, because he knew that he was playing against the rep halfback, and he was dead keen to get stuck in. Plus the fact that he knew his old man played for Upper Hutt and has always sort of gone along with Upper Hutt.
Was chipping away at the dining room table.
Absolutely.
Well, they're very contrasting styles, these two halfbacks. James King is feisty, likes the confrontation, and is not scared to pick and go. Daniel Curtin, by comparison, is very well known for his long passing off the deck, left to right and right to left. So I guess it's a question of selectorial preference, I suppose. Yeah, Collins. He's good play inside his own 22. Collins now looking for support. Finds it in the shape of Leighton Olsen. 16 for Petone's Farron Turner. So now Upper Hutt pushed a long way back after that great break from Collins from inside his own 22. Upper Hutt force.
They missed Umanga there, Petone, didn't they? That extra bit of gas just to clear the way. You need that pace just to clear out at times.
Craig Hammond does well, a little half break.
And O'Halloran couldn't quite keep up.
Still nice breakout, wasn't it, by Collins?
It was a good break.
Try line.
It was a try-scoring break.
Still, there are some big holes in that Upper Hutt defence. There's some massive holes, unfortunately, been there all game, and Petone outside backs having an absolute field day.
Yeah, they lost a bit of shape since Craig Foster went off. There it is on the Tracks Bar and Cafe replay. Collins on the break, and in the end, he was looking for Farron Turner. And Leighton Olsen did very well getting himself in between two Petone players. John McCormick now wins a very good line out for Petone. Curtin for Carpeny. The bomb goes up for Anderton, lets it bounce. Chance for Petone now. Look at that ball. 3 defenders.
The best.
Anderton goes down, tries to do something with it as he waits for numbers to get back behind the ball. Upper Hutt. Now they're right in front of their own post. What a terrific kick from Carpeny.
What a tremendous recovery by Upper Hutt. I mean, Fed's having 3 men on 1, and they lose the ball, the ruck and more.
Petty Kenny.
Everyone ended up on the deck instead of going for the pill.
Farron Turner taken to the ground by Roger Walker. Now Daniel Curtin. Collins, O'Halloran, Ferrani. Easy try for Joseph Collins on the left wing. So we come back for that kick from Company, which was very, very well done. And then some tremendous defence, as Earl Curtin pointed out, from Upper Hutt. And then in the end, when Petone were able to steal the ball back, numbers on the left-hand side, catch and pass. And Joseph Collins, here it is, Daniel Curtin picks up Collins, Jason O'Halloran, Daniel Ferrani, runs to the inside shoulder, passes to the left-hand side, and Collins gets the easy finish.
Yeah, it's the other beauty of the pass too, with Daniel there cutting out 2 of the insides and pushing the ball into the space. So Collins, all he had to do was poke into it. Makes a big difference. That's the other thing. I think halfbacks push the ball far too much to first 5/8s and allow them to control the game, rather than why not completely miss them out?
Absolutely,
this is a problem that we have with the All Blacks. I mean, why does it always have to go to the first 5/8?
Get the good old
no need at all.
Get the good old dive pass
going
again. Straight out the second 5 out to wing.
And as we all know, if you take the old stopwatch out, bang, bang, 2 passes to the wing, take half the time. So therefore the defence cannot advance as much to cut you down. It's all pretty simple and logical, really.
Does Marshall have a long pass?
He does, but it's not what you'd call awfully fast through the air, is it? It tends to loop a bit towards the end of a longish pass. Well, again, he's a style that you look at in terms of
James King
selectorially. Yeah, do you want it round rucks and mauls, or do you want a distributor?
Curtin for Company. Puts it high, using the wind.
Into the middle again, this will bounce. Look out.
Look at this, they let it bounce again. Upper Hutt now, Collins. Collins again, Joseph Collins and August Collins working together. It's been turned over, luckily, for Upper Hutt. Gee, they've got a reluctance to take the ball on the full, allowing Petone easy picking. So that's a pretty sensible tactic for Petone now, Earl, isn't it?
Well, it's not only that, he's not putting it to the corners where the Upper Hutt defence has been trying to sit and defend the corners with the kicks. He's actually putting it into the middle, and there's no one home. And they're good kicks because they're going where no one is, obviously. And they're high bounce. Petone really should have scored again then. They had 4 guys hitting that ball and they took it.
Gilbert Kelly off the back. James King backing up on the inside. Makes a little half break. Good work from the halfback. Getting away from Turner. Good break from James King. 15 metres into Petone territory. They get there in numbers. Now they pick and go. Upper Hutt, good work. Numbers on the right-hand side. Nathan Russell. Daniel Curtin makes an important tackle to hold things up. Now King looks left, goes right, turns the ball back inside, it's turned over. So Upper Hutt have done very, very well. 22 for Upper Hutt. There's Pat Thomas. They've got players down. McCormick is down for Petone as well. But a good little half break from James King. He's getting away from Company. Farron Turner's got to do plenty of work before he can eventually scrag him to the deck. Then they pick and go. Daniel Curtin makes an assist. Then they go forward. Daniel Curtin will then come up with a very important tackle back on the inside there on Russell to hold things up. And then there's an infringement, and Upper Hutt get the penalty. So some good attack and some good defence, and in the end, a good advantage for Upper Hutt.
One of the things Dion Ross wants in the Jubilee Cup round, he's the Petone coach, he wants Petone to play for the full 80 minutes because they have been guilty of just doing the 40, 50, 60 minute and cruising for the rest of the game and coming a wee bit unstuck. And just to the last 10 minutes, I think Petone, yes, they've got a healthy lead, 38, 39 points to 3.
Well, they went to sleep last week against Marist and Pats.
And they're starting to show signs there again today, Ken.
Well, they did it against Avalon too, and then against Paniki, they never ever got out of sleep, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, that was a bad loss, 42-15. They lost to Paniki. Upper Hutt, by comparison, their best game of the year, 109-0 against Wellington, and their worst effort we saw here on Saturn Sport as well, 24-38 to Marist and Pats when they came back at the end, but they were well beaten that day at Rugby League Park, weren't they?
Yes. They've been good, Murray, as you say. You said they came together today and have been very good with Ruckamore and their driving. I thought they played very well even against Paniki and against MSP too in the second half. I think that their long shot really has been. Their scrummaging for a start, and then their rucking and mauling has been excellent this year.
Yeah, well, especially in the Upper Hutt team too. I mean, they've beaten 4 of the 7 other teams in the Jubilee Cup round. So, and I know that Coach Marty Berry's very happy with Upper Hutt, and what Upper Hutt have got by getting the early victories, and especially that victory in the Swindale round against Petone out at Upper Hutt. They're getting that self-belief, and that's really what's starting to come through. And as you know, when you start winning, your belief picks up, and just the whole team effort picks up. That winning feeling.
Upper Hutt going to go with a set play. Hammonds to the right-hand side. They're only 14 metres out. You can see the post in front of you, so a good opportunity for them here. See how hard they've been working at training these past couple of weeks. Now the tap, they go to the left side. Those 4 take it in. Look for the quick release. Now they go on the left side through the hands using their big men. This is phase number 2. Now they're about 8 metres out and they switch back to the right-hand side. Petty Kenny makes a charge. Good tackle from Roger Walker. Ball's been knocked on the 3rd phase. They were looking pretty good as well, weren't they, as Upper Hutt?
Well, that's what they've got to do, because they realise they're not great out wide and they're into the wind and they're doing it effectively. They were just a bit stiff there, weren't they? Dig it in, Upper Hutt. Push it more into his belly so as he can't drop it.
So turnovers, Marty Berry will be very conscious about that, particularly as they haven't been able to get a try. Dan Curtin can't do much, forced to tidy up himself. Now Roger Walker plays halfback. And Farron Turner with the left foot clearance, and it's not a bad one as well, pushing play up.
A
couple of metres short of halfway. Gee, that's a very good kick.
One. And was pressurised at the same time.
Molina behind him. Tialata. Thomas Tupuava behind him. Former Wellington representative Roger Walker in the headgear is Pat Thomas. Easy for Craig Hammond at the front. Oh, gee, that's tough.
That was tough. That's exactly like the Petone one over there. That was just offline.
If it was a calm day, possibly, but gee, the conditions out there, strong northerly.
Well,
I was
I
hoping
think
the referee
poor
might have a
chap's
bit
seen
more
that,
attitude.
Mr. Lawrence watching. He wants one of those provincial games. He's been adjudicated, and that's the end of him. That's the end of the fun for the players.
And the commentators.
That's right. It's an awful word, judgment, isn't it, awful word. Oh, ball's been turned over. It's messy. Oh, Mata in a contest with Jonathan Cleland, I think it is, out there in 21.
Well, I hope if you do see Mr. Lawrence that you do tell him that they're still not being allowed to ruck. We have to ruck the clear ball to get our backs into Operation Term. We've got to get the world to let us do it.
Well, I guess depending on what environment you play or what sort of personnel you've got, I think to a large degree that dictates how they want the games refereed as well. If you've got big forwards, you want contest. If you've got little forwards, you want continuity, I suppose.
Yes.
How do you think we'd go without any referees?
Well, we'd go back to the wall game, wouldn't we? we all at Eton and Harrow, and we'd be smashing hell out of one another on the quad.
That's right, which is what used to happen.
We wouldn't need a ground or lines. We'd be just there.
Is that 40 aside, was it?
Well, it could be anything up to more than that. It just depended how many you could gather.
Or you could muster.
King. It's a switch of play from the left side to the right side. Daniel Curtin with a good ball and all shot. Upper Hutt regroup. 24 metres out. They drive, coming back around to the right-hand side. There's a penalty for a high tackle. King again, keen to get on with it. Inside the 22. Tony player lying on the Upper Hutt side. So they deal with him and drive forward. It's Tupuava. King flicks the ball back for Russell. Tialata with a good tackle. Daniel Ferrani helps. Now the pick and go. That's the goal line. 6 metres out. Upper Hutt trying to drive through the middle. Good work from Upper Hutt. Daniel Curtin tries to hang on right on the line. It's coming back for King. It's slow. He goes and dives himself. He's short. Oh, we'll have another look at that. I think the referee was unsided. Now they have another look. Gee, they're picking and going. They've got white line fever, Upper Hutt. Now they charge Petone V. Driving over. That's about phase number 8. Daniel Curtin holds up. Is that a try? Have a look. Ooh. Daniel Curtin's had a very big defensive second half. And he did just enough there again. I think it's Petone V that he holds up. In fact, it's Gilbert Kelly. He's made some very important tackles. Daniel Curtin there with the upper. That was done by Upper Hutt, though.
Yeah, they were too.
Well, I hope they don't swab him. I think they put something in his wheat picks. I haven't seen him going nuts like this on defence.
Well, look, this is a very, very big. Look, it just does enough to hold him up. He's got his right hand underneath. That's
good play.
Very good play defensively.
Noticeable though, I mean, Upper Hutt, they acted as individuals. If they'd just taken a wee bit of patience and time to set up the maul, they could have easily got through the middle as a group as opposed to an individual effort, because Petone, very noticeable, the Petone forwards all standing around the sides, and that's why Dan Curtin had to get in there and make those tackles, because his forwards were not interested.
Look at the street lights on at the top of the screen. Top of the screen.
It's got very dark here, it has to. Murray, you sound like a marriage counsellor, you know, you're so sort of poignant and measured in your tone and the way you're talking about it. But you're absolutely right. They've got to gradually build it, as you guys used to say. I used to hear the forwards say, and take your time.
The All Blacks.
Yes, take your time.
They won't
and just push
job, though, will it?
It's Upper Hutt holders at the back. Now Gilbert Kelly.
Now the score because
they tries to get the ball down. Look at McAllister in good position. Gee, there were 3 Petone defenders there on that occasion.
And 4 Upper Hutt.
And in the end, Upper Hutt.
Well, because they are one of the best ruckers and maulers in the business, so I'm very pleased that they've scored one here. It's just dessert for at least showing good skill and one technique.
The referee.
That is driving, rucking and mauling. It's not so much rucking, more mauling and driving.
Came from a good scrum too. It was a quick hook, and the ball got back to the Upper Hutt feet very quick.
Yeah. They've scrum well all day, Murray. Really, they've had Petone on the back foot. That's what worries me about those 2 Petone props. Are they getting much help from the second row, Murray?
I'd say they're probably getting a lot.
So in other words, you reckon they're
it's hard to tell. I guess the Petone forwards, I mean, if they've got the star backs that are doing the damage they're doing today, I guess the forwards could be cruising a wee bit.
Well, I think that might be true, because the props have been getting out and doing a hell of a lot of loose work, haven't they? Both of them. They've been outstanding in the loose. Not quite so good at scrum time.
Good conversion too.
Did Kafatola, when we have a look here, Gilbert Kelly going away to the right-hand side. In the end, the momentum good enough. Is the referee Catholic? Just a thought. 39 points. So I was just going to say with Kafatola, did he have something wrong with his teeth, or did he just come to take umbrage?
No, he was a very wise man, and he was coming in to protect his teeth. And we put made him a smooth, very tight mouth guard.
Good. Is he wearing it?
that could be contentious, and we shan't say anything about that, otherwise he'll lose his insurance if he's not.
Pat Thomas. King. Mata offloading for Gilbert Kelly, the try scorer. Driving away, Ken Warren tries to hold things up. Now they go to ground. 25 metres out, about 12 to go, Murray.
12 to go. You wouldn't want terribly much more either, because it is very dark, quite deceptive on your TV screen. But, very dark, street lights already on.
Well, another pass going astray on that right-hand side.
Well, Daniel Ferrani could hear the thundering whoos, but he was back a wee bit deeper. He wasn't actually there.
Daniel Ferrani's come out to centre on this play. Jason O'Halloran, I think, has gone off. Thomas. Throwing for Yorworth. Good work from Upper Hutt again. These early phases of possession is when they are at their best. If they're going to be frustrated by anything today, it's just their inability to put the point scoring plays on the end of it. And this is phase number 4, and they're going to be rewarded again via the penalty. Former All Black commentators today, Earl Curtin and Murray Pearce, with their years of experience at the elite level, now need to give a bit of thought to an outstanding player of the match.
Well, from my point of view, I thought that Tialata's had a good game, but can you give it to a prop when the scrum hasn't gone particularly well?
Or the other option you could look at is the damage today for Petone's been done by their backs. Possibly we should be looking at one of the Petone backs that have featured.
Well, Umaga was outstanding at times when he was here. He dropped some ball, but I mean, he certainly was concentrating enough that when he really put it together, he showed his class.
The other thing that you may not be able to say, Earl, but I think Dan Curtin's also had a good game today, both on defence and attack. He's always been the link man there. Yes, he's had a good ride at times with that Petone forward team now and again going forward. But I think Dan Curtin with a couple of try-saving tackles.
Getting all sorts of advice coming through the cans from people unqualified to comment as Upper Hutt drive their way forward. But Daniel Curtin certainly has been a dominant and prominent figure in this match, and he has had a significant impact on the result. There's no question about that. As Andy Parsons makes an important tackle. King goes to the line, flicks the ball back for Hammond, who runs into a teammate. McAllister says play on. Some referees would blow that up as an obstruction. Now they go to the right side for Aumata. Iono looking for support. Now King, they go back that left-hand side again. Leighton Olsen, a long ball out wide. Upper Hutt, gee, they were a long time getting some momentum going forward, though. They did have players in space. But Tony have come away with it. Roger Walker does well. Just knocked forward. Earl Curtin has gone very quiet in this debate over the.
Oh well, I'm not going to really debate the thing,
it's a conflict of interest.
But
Earl, it's not your fault the boys played well.
I mean,
in spite of
in spite of obvious difficulties he had through the first 23 years or 24 years of his life, he's put in an outstanding performance today. Daniel Curtin, a representative halfback. He has been on the fringe, a graduate of Otago University. What did he do? Commerce. So the Curtin family have delivered us on our society yet another accountant.
He will win what a voucher can from mate.
It's not so much an account.
You have to
does he win a voucher can today? I mean, is it Mates Bar and Cafe? Do they? I mean, if it's a dinner for two,
might do, but he's not having it. We'll go.
Yeah, well, I can say
we picked him.
Earl may end up.
Yeah, well, if Earl goes, we'll all go, won't we? Because he wouldn't have got it if it wasn't for us. So
exactly.
I think, you know, that we sort of deserve some. You know, we've been a key factor in him winning the award, I'd like to suggest. Gilbert Kelly off the back. The least he can do is give us the voucher, because he's taken all the credit. Now they pick and go. Petty Kenny, 22, Pat Thomas. Now Aumata at first receiver. Coming back on the inside, Carpenny makes a good tackle. Now King, they go that left side. Aumata's gone to 5'8". Nathan Russell. Good tackle, Willie Collins. An advantage with Upper Hutt. Now they pick and go. Thomas Tupuoval can't do much. Russell, that's the 10-metre line from the goal line. So now King, Leighton Olsen, Craig Hammond turns the ball back inside. Petone offside. 39 points to 10 for Tony, so they're going to do it comfortably. Is it 8 minutes, Murray?
8.
But for their confidence and whatnot for next week, you know, the younger forwards that have come on now, and these young backs, they should be nailing it in. They should be sort of fighting a bit more than they are. They're sort of allowing Upper Hutt to come forward now. They've got to get more aggressive and grab some ball. They haven't had the ball for about the last 10, 15 minutes, I would suggest.
So 24 metres out. Pat Thomas looking for Craig Hammond. Doesn't take it. Good work. I'm not sure who put that kick in. It was a Parsons put the kick in, standing at the back. The ball's not going to go dead. Forcing Anderson to go back. So that's a good play for Petone. Picking up 80 metres on the play.
Nicely weighted kick. Perfectly weighted kick by the hooker, right? It was beautiful.
And now they've all turned their backs. They're not watching the dropout. Oh, suddenly they switched on.
20 for Petone. There's Andrew Ioane. 17 is August Collins. See that ball holding up. Roger Walker. Taken at the first line of defence. Curtin long for Tialata. Pushes away. One Upper Hutt defender. He's turned on Upper Hutt's side though, so they need to work hard to get the ball back, Petone. They can't. Now Hammond gets away from Tupuoval and Cam Warren. King picks and goes. Tupuoval does well, strips him of the ball and presents it back on Petone's side. Now Curtin, good work from the front rower. Now Collins runs hard at the line. Ball's loose. Nathan Russell does well. So now Leighton Olsen has seen precious little ball. The Upper Hutt centre today, taken by Collins and Ioane.
He has to be frustrating for Olsen.
Mata. Tolar coming back. Thrown to ground by Willie Collins. Now King. It's only offside again. And they give the referee a chip, so they lose another 10 metres. King taps, gets on with it quickly. Daniel Curtin's inside the 10. James King gets frustrated. Puts a shot into him. That's good. A couple of halfbacks.
Yeah, good stuff.
Going at each other. That's what we like to see. Daniel Ferrani's taken over as captain. Tries to prevent Upper Hutt from taking the quick tap by engaging the referee in conversation. So it doesn't take me long to learn the old tricks, does it, Murray?
Yes, absolutely. But, nice little tussle here.
It's
a good left-hander. Curtin stood his ground, but as we mentioned at the start of the game, an important game for both those halfbacks.
Oh, he's getting a yellow card.
No.
Oh, you are kidding. Neville McAllister. Does that mean we should change our view now about the Mates Bar MVP with... well, I suppose it's a professional foul in that he was inside the 10 and he deliberately made a play at him on defence. But what do you expect him to do? Just let the Upper Hutt guy run and score the try? You are kidding.
No, it's not only that. I mean, he's vying with the man. Do you think he's going to let him have a free run into the line?
Right,
There's no way. No way.
Well, I think that just confirms that we should give it to him.
For playing illegally.
Yeah, wow. No, we'll call it competitive. I think we all would have done the same thing, wouldn't we?
It was competitive, yes. But I think, Ken, you might have some of the grandmas might have a crack at you and not encouraging.
Oh, well, send a letter.
Ken's used to it.
James King now. Long ball for Almata. He's the third 5'8" they've had today, Upper Hutt. They started with Foster. Tefetu went there now, and Andre Almata is there. So understandably, there's been a little bit of misunderstanding. King now, Leighton Olsen on the left-hand side. Tupuoval takes him easily, and Andy Parsons. 24 metres out. Upper Hutt put the drive on. Tony try and prevent. The ball's there for King. Looks both sides, goes down the left-hand blind. Nathan Russell does well. James King, he has a look. He's too slow. He's trying to do it all himself. James King. Now Gilbert Kelly. Andrew Ioane comes at it with a good shot. Now they go wide. The team is Ruben Nation for Upper Hutt. Petone have done very well, stolen the ball. Now they bridge and go on the left side. Numbers out here. Daniel Ferrani,
Too early.
So Collins. Now the whistle comes. Daniel Ferrani's actually playing centre with the changes that have been made.
Did that ball look as if it was going forward there too? Oh, I thought it went back.
I thought it went back. 39 points to 10 on the Avery Ford scoreboard. Very, very important, these games of the Jubilee Cup. Now they are shooting for semi-final positions. That is the significance of there are only 7 round-robin games. So you really, if you lose any more than 2 games, Murray, you're on the back foot straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. And Upper Hutt, yes, they will be disappointed to lose this game, but they'll obviously got a few home games lined up, so they'll continue to do well. But Petone, it's very important for them if they want to get that, retain that Jubilee Cup, that they really do need to start lifting up their work rate. It's been a wee bit, they've done enough at the start of both halves to win the game, but unfortunately their mental approach has been such that they're cruising, and that's very dangerous, especially at this higher level of rugby when they come up against the higher teams.
Gee, that's an incredible statistic from Upper Hutt's perspective today. They've had plenty of opportunities, one would imagine. 16 penalties. But again, they just haven't been able to retain the ball for multiple phases, Earl.
That's it. Well, they've rucked the mauled, or rucked the mauled well, as we've suggested. And they're good one-off, but they certainly haven't been able to move it through the backs. And in actual fact, it's often a lot easier to move the ball into the wind than it is with it, because the ball kicks back, and it makes it a hell of a lot easier to handle.
Leighton Olsen. So a midfield play from Upper Hutt to try and create a hole in the Petone defence. Now Petty Kenny. Cam Warren hangs on, so does Andrew Ioane. They throw him away and drive forward, Upper Hutt. King for Almata, short for Russell, who's tried hard, the Upper Hutt captain. King again, they go on the left side. That's Tola's wing. He comes back on the inside, taken by Ioane and Collins. Close to the touchline. And now the scrum for Upper Hutt. Well, of course, last year, Johnsonville just scraped in to the top 8 in the Jubilee Cup. After a very, very disappointing start to the Swindale Shield, they made it through to the semi-finals and only lost the semi-finals in a very controversial decision over a try that was scored at Westpac Trust Stadium, which allowed Petone to advance to the final. So there was plenty of drama in the semi-final and final of last year's Jubilee Cup. It was wonderful.
Yeah. It was down to the death now. Petone have actually got to whack it. They've got to get the ball back, and someone's just got to put one big whack in, and that's it. Upper Hutt are delighted with the fact that they're gradually climbing back again in this game, and they'll go away reasonably satisfied.
James King off the back, and just a metre short. No, right over. And McAllister in good position. Some suggestion about a double movement as the players. Of course, Petone a man down with Dan Curtin in the sin bin. So have a look at James King. He gets underneath a couple of defenders. Oh, maybe a double movement. Oh, we'll have another couple of looks at that. I'm not sure whether he got it down first time or whether he got it down first time and then did Nathan Russell promote it here? The ball's down there.
He wasn't held though, was he?
Yes, he was. He's held by the jersey. What do you call that? Held?
Well, someone held on, but
yeah.
Is it held
down, or is it held on the jersey?
Technically, I don't know.
So if we have a look at 10, Darren Carpenter's held him. There, well, then is it a double movement as well? Let's have another look and let's argue some more.
The referee had one look.
As the referee, Neville McAllister, blows the whistle for full time. Have a look here. Is he held and goes down here now, then promotes the... That's a double movement.
Well, I can tell you, with the way the edge has been so competitive, I don't think he'd have scored if Dan Curtin had been there. He'd have made sure. I mean, they've been following one another around. They've been going nose to nose all around the play.
That's fair. It's fair. Well, 39 points to 15. Petone, who were always favoured to win this game, come away with the victory, and in the end it was pretty comprehensive, even though it was close at time. Our mate Spa MVP, I think we're agreed.
Still in the sin bin,
well, we're finding it difficult to get a camera on him because he's been in the sin bin. He's sprinting around to come back. It has been Daniel Curtin, who's been very, very solid in attack and in defence. He's backed up well. His passes has been good, but significantly today, there he is on your screen, Daniel Curtin. Significantly today, he's made some very, very big plays in defence, which allowed his team to get home comfortably. So our mate Spa MVP, Dan Curtin. On behalf of our former All Black commentary team, with us once again today, Earl Curtin and Murray Pearce and the Saturn Sports crew. Thanks for watching Jubilee Cup Rugby on Saturn Sport.